history and our movement. And so when I tell you that we are going to have, this is for your audience now, so that anybody out there listening, they can tell their friends that smoke cannabis or interested in medical marijuana in Arizona, that this is going to be the radio show that is going to tell the people of Arizona about what about it's up with hemp and with medical cannabis and recreational cannabis and spiritual cannabis and the Roger Christie crucifixion. Putting a man like this in jail and not giving him bail and letting him defend himself in America, it's just, you know, it's enough that if we were in Jeffersonian times, men would be saying, let's get our guns, men, let's get our guns. Well, we can't say that. If we say that now under the Patriot Act, my God, you know, if we misconstrue it, we're a terrorist.
Well, you know, I have never urged any of my audience or any of my radio, I have never urged violence at all. I don't believe in it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to become as evil as these people were opposing.
Well, I did say today in High Times magazine that Steve Hager, another person that we'll have on the show, who owns High Times now. He used to just be the public half owner. Anyway, he's got an incredible history in the movement. You know Steve Hager.
I was friends with Andy Cowell.
He allowed Alan St. Pierre, the CEO of Normal, you know, to take a lot of swipes and cheap blows and to Roger Christie in an article today. And I wrote, and I, you know, got a little emotional. And at the end of it, I said, look, Roger's cards worked. People got out of jail from, you know, we had like 100-0. He had over 100 people that never, and everyone got out. And then the DEA got on it, and they started what they call selective prosecution, which is selective persecution. And they went after people in his church, including him, which they did a whole 2-year investigation. But other people, they just went in their house, got warrants, and they were ministers, and they were growing inside their house, and they said, I'm a minister, and they went, okay, and now they're in jail. So just to prove his cards wouldn't work, so that Normal could gang up on him and say, no, we got deals with all the people in D.C. When this thing goes legal, it's just going to be for recreational. Why? Because people, the constituents that elect, especially Republican people still in the United States, these are big churches, conservative. They don't want any competition from these marijuana churches, because I estimate 100 years after we re-legalize, 60% of all the churches in the world would be marijuana churches.
That would be really, really, it'd be a different world. Now, you know, one other thing I want to mention, 40 years ago, while I was in jail for marijuana, I did I wrote a novel about a time in the future when a man came back, became the wealthiest man in the world, and legalized marijuana. All but 4 states, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Mississippi, formed the straight states, and they were still putting people in prison for marijuana when it was legal everywhere else.
Those are the states that your show should be going to right now. That's where we should be trying to excite people and say, look, if you're in those states, you're probably a good Christian person, but you just, you know, you're not you need more education about what the Bible really says about cannabis. And you just don't believe it's in the Bible. But we're going to bring the scientists on this show, and then we're going to put that stuff up even more on your website. And if the people want it, just like they want other evidence about what's going on with this government, that's really getting crazier by, you know, I saw the thing on Drudge here, and we're all talking about it in Phnom Penh, you know, and the terrorists have won. When you've got a nun at the airport being groped by a woman who's got she's Middle Eastern, and she's got her whole Middle Eastern thing, and she's down on her hands or knees groping a nun in the groin. The terrorists have won in America. They've taken our rights away so violently now, and that it's ridiculous. Who would want to fly under these circumstances?
Oh my God! They're groping people. I mean, doing more than a pat down, feeling up people's genitals and all this to get on an airplane. I haven't flown since the Patriot Act passed. Won't.
Yeah,
I'm not taking my
I
boots off
just
for
did
nobody.
for my father's funeral. That's all. Now, here's the thing. Here's what you and me, and it's truthful. We've got to talk truthful here. We're talking to the FBI. We're talking to the CIA on here right now.
Absolutely.
You and me, when we get on the plane, even though we might not have a few hundred on here, but we know we got some law enforcement on here too. Now, when we get on that plane, you and me, well, I got a little bit of cannabis sacrament in my nutsack there. I got it up there, taped up there, and so that's why them son of bitches want to grope me. They want to get me busted for my weed. It ain't about no bomb. But they're bringing the drugs in, but they want to put me in a jail for 50,000 so they can make money in their private jails. No, I'm sorry. I'm staying in Cambodia until this whole thing blows over, and I'll fight until my last breath.
That is why basically I wrote this novel 40 years ago, and with what I know now, I am rewriting it. It's being put on the computer. I have people helping me type it back into the computer, because they didn't have computers when I wrote it, and I am rewriting that, and just for shock.
Well, I think actually the early hippies, everybody in Microsoft was down there like in Phoenix there in the beginning, and they were all hippies with long hair except for the nerd Bill Gates. And so, I'm doing some work right now with a software company over here, and I have to teach these Khmer kids that, look, the reason you're allowed to not wear shoes and wear shorts and T-shirts while you're working in the computer software business is because there's the hippies and then there's the straights, and the straights was IBM, and they dress like me, suit and tie, and not a floral shirt. White shirt, and it was like you are a machine, there is the IBM machine, and software is all ideas. It's completely different. And drugs, we always know that drugs and alcohol isn't too good, but give us ideas.
We're out of time here. We'll have you on December 3rd next Wednesday, and with any of the clients that you want. And
wait, today is what day? And 17, and then next Wednesday is what?
Next Wednesday, I think I have. Let me see. Next Wednesday. Well, next Wednesday is I've got.
You let me know. You let me know. Send me a Facebook, and I'll be ready.
All right.
Otherwise, and then otherwise in 2 weeks we'll have our first guest in 2 weeks.
All right. Yeah, we'll do it in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Okay, then.
I appreciate you being on. Bye-bye, Raymond.
Nope. Bye. Bye.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you, I really like this idea. This novel I'm coming out with, it will be very, very powerful, and it'll be controversial, because my character, who I have named Lucifer, and not the my character's 4,000 years old. He reincarnates from time to time, comes back as different people. And the character gets a start from Atlantis. He's the co-captain of the Earth ship Heaven, and there's all these Earth ships that are created to preserve the knowledge and the technology of Atlantis after the passing of Planet X. I call it the conjunction in my short story. And 40 years ago, I wrote the story of Solomon coming back and legalizing